It is 6:10 p.m. I'd like to call this special City Council meeting to order. It is Tuesday, December 6th, 2022, and it is 6:10 p.m. in the New Bedford City Council chambers. The opening of the session is by myself, New Bedford City Council President Ian Abreu. I'm joined in the chamber this evening by my colleagues in government. We have Ward 2 Councilor Maria Giesta, Ward 5 Councilor Scott Lima, Ward 1 Councilor Brad Markey, Councilor at Large Brian Gomes, Ward 6 Councilor Ryan Pereira, Councilor at Large Linda Morad, Councilor at Large Naomi Carney, and Councilor at Large Shane Burgo. I'll ask the clerk, are there any letters to be read into the record?
There are none, Mr. President.
All right, I'll ask the clerk to read item 1, items 1, 2, and 3.
Mr. President, item 1 is communication from Council President Abreu to the City Clerk, Clerk of the City Council, Dennis Farias, calling a special meeting of the City Council for Tuesday, December 6, 2022 at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers, second floor of City Hall, to hold a hearing on tax classification FY23. Item 2 is a legal ad, Mr. President, published Tuesday, November 22nd of 2022 in the New Bedford Standard Times, giving notice of tax classification hearing for FY23 on Tuesday, December 6, 2022 at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers of City Hall. And item 3 is a communication from the Board of Assessors submitting an informational packet to assist councilors in selection of the minimum residential factor for FY23.
Made by Councilor Morad, second by Councilor Markey. Anyone on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4 is now before us.
Mr. President, item 4 is an order adopting minimal residential factor for FY23.
Motion received and placed on file. Made by Councilor Giesta,
Second.
second by Councilor Pereira. Anyone on the question? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. This is a public hearing, so the chair will now open the hearing. This is a public hearing, as a reminder, and we are joined this evening by Ms. Pamela Davis, the interim administrative assistant of the assessing department. So I know we have a presentation that is about to be presented, so the chair will recognize the assessor's department.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. This year, we're setting the, is that better? This year, we're setting the fiscal 23 tax rates. How a tax rate is set is the city finalizes the budget, then we take all actual and estimated receipts except for the real estate and personal property tax and subtract from the total budget. This year, the final budget was $419,977,739, and the receipts totaled to $273,114,795, leaving $146,862,944 to raise in real estate and personal property tax. This year, our taxable value is $8,600,484,058. By dividing the taxable value into the money to be raised by real and personal property tax, a single rate of $17.08 per thousand would occur. How we split the rate is the total residential class value is 82.1302% of the total taxable valuation. Commercial, industrial, and personal property are the balance of 17.8698%. With a single rate, each class raises the proportional share of the amount of money to raise. That means for fiscal 23, the residential class would raise 82.1302% of the levy, and the commercial would raise the balance. To split the rate, giving the residential class some relief, the city historically has voted to give the maximum allowed shift to commercial, industrial, and personal property classes. In this example, the fiscal 23 tax rates, the commercial, industrial, and personal property classes being 17.8698% of the total, would have raised $26,244,114. If you vote the maximum shift of 175, the amount of levy raised by commercial industrial classes is $45,927,200, an increase of $19,661,86. That increase is subtracted from the amount of money the residential class would raise, bringing it down to $100,957,744 from the $120,618,830 it would have raised. All the values in each class stay the same, so the rate changes as the amount they are to raise changes. So in this example, the residential rate would become $14.29. The commercial, industrial, personal property would become $29.88. To give an example of the impact, the average single-family home has a value of $310,300, so the bill would be $4,434.19. The average commercial is $415,925, so their bill would be $12,421.86. For industrial property, the average is $842,480, and their bill would be $25,173.30. This chart is showing you each shift, 170 to 175, what the corresponding minimum residential factor is for each one, and how the rates would change depending on the shift you choose. And that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Madam. Councilors, any questions? Chair recognizes Councilor Markey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the presentation, very informative. Question is, based on your numbers here, real estate values, property values, both in residential and commercial and business, what did we see this year as far as the increases? I know residential was probably up higher than where we saw the business.
Residential was significantly higher. Commercial industrial was very little movement. I think it was something like 2%.
2%. And what was residential percent ballpark?
Roughly 20.
20%, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Markey. Chair recognizes Councilor Pereira.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
It was a pleasure.
So when I'm looking at the packet that was provided by the assessing department, it says it shows the average single-family value at $310,300.
Right.
Now, going back to last year's average value, I think it was something like close to a $50,000 increase in average value from last year to this year. So my question is, did we see a lot of the lower end spectrum come up, or more on the top end to shift that average up? Or was it a combination?
I think it was pretty universal.
Across the board, just every
residential.
property. In residential.
Yeah.
Because, obviously for that average to go up, something had to change. But you're saying that across the board, whether it be the lower side or the upper side of the spectrum, a pretty universal increase across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the multifamily prices, did you notice those were on the higher end of the spectrum? On that
I don't know
range?
about the higher end, but they did increase as well.
As well, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the MLS ads for multifamilies, depending on their location, focus on the commuter rail coming in.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. No further questions.
Thank you, Councilor. Chair recognizes Councilor Morad.
Thank you for your information. I have a couple questions for you. The 3, 4, 5-family units, are they still in the residential number?
Yes.
Okay, so this year, there were enough arm's length transactions in that category, including the single family, for you to use values from sales of 2021 and 22? What's the number based on?
We use 20 and 21
So this year
sales.
is 20 and 21. Okay, and using that over what we used last year, my calculation is that there's an 18.9% increase in residential value this year,
You're comparing the average to the average.
from
Could
last
be.
year to this year, yes. That's all I
Overall, we
can
had
do.
19 and some percent, but that was including all residential.
Yeah.
And please do understand, even apartment complexes are coded
Are in
residential.
yeah,
Yes.
right. So, using 20 and 21, there's an 18, almost 19% increase. Watching values as I do, and I'm sure you do too, in 21 and 22, that numbers continue to increase. So
Yes.
next year, we're going to see, you may have another good year of arm's length transactions to be able to use that.
They will increase, but to what degree is still unknown.
Right, because we're only at an average of 310 for residential. That's the,
Right.
yeah, and.
That was a
property-
single family.
Right.
Right.
Right, so, okay, now on the commercial side, I know one of my colleagues asked you, and you said that there was only a slight decrease, but the information we were provided last year said the average commercial and industrial property was valued at a little over $500,000. And this year, we have it valued at $415,000. So that's a significant decrease. Have I got information incorrect? 'Cause
I
it's
don't
like an
know.
eight-
Was last year, did they give it to you separately or as a combination, commercial and industrial?
It was combined.
Yeah, I think that's what's skewing it.
So do you know what the,
No, I
Off
don't
the
know
top of your head?
combined, no.
would you be able to obtain that and send it along after
Sure,
tonight?
absolutely.
Because I'm just curious, because I'm worried about next year as well.
Any question you have, I'm
Yeah.
happy to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the decrease that we're seeing in commercial this year, is that because there's significant properties that are no longer being valued, or?
There's
what-
some vacancies, there's quite a few that are in progress of renovations, et cetera. We have properties on TIFs and STA agreements, which reduces the taxable value.
But we've always had that, and we've only approved a couple this year. So.
Well, there were some that ended, but there's a lot that were renewed as well, and new ones coming on. So we're trying to keep up with the list.
Yeah. All right, so there's no major property that's excluded this year, or no major properties that are excluded this year that would bring that value down almost $100,000?
Well, keep in mind, I've only been
Yeah,
in
I know.
this for a couple
Yeah,
of months, so I really can't give you that
Yeah.
depth.
Yeah.
I'm happy
surprised
to look
nobody-
into
I'm-
it for
Yeah, I'm
you.
surprised nobody from the board is here tonight, so, actually, I'm disappointed nobody from the board is here tonight. Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Thank you, I appreciate you answering my questions.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else with questions for Ms. Davis? Councilors, any other questions? Okay, because this is a public hearing, I will ask, is there anyone in the chambers from the public who wishes to address the council on this matter? Is there anyone in the chambers from the general public who wishes to address the council on this matter? One last time, is there anyone in the chambers from the general public who wishes to address the council on this matter? Okay, the chair will now close the public hearing. Councilors, before the chair will entertain motions, or recommendations, I should say, for the residential shift, I'd just like to ask if Attorney Garatowski, would you mind just coming to the podium, because we do have 2 new councilors, and we do this once a year just to sort of give everyone the lay of the land on how this all plays out.
So at the conclusion of a public hearing, you're required to have a public hearing on this matter, and then traditionally how we handle this is the chair would open up the floor for members to propose a residential factor. once the hearing is closed, the chair would open up the floor. Councils can propose any factor they want that's before you. And then once all of the factors have been taken down, you'll close the floor so there's no more, and you will begin by adopting a vote to adopt the highest residential factor first. And you would go down from the highest to the lowest residential factor until you get 6 votes to adopt one. Once you get 6 votes and you adopt one, that ends it, and there's no more factors that get considered. But once the chair has all of what you propose, the votes begin with the highest residential factor first. It's a little counterintuitive because we usually talk in terms of the CIP shift, 175, 173. The highest residential factor is the lowest CIP shift. So if you want to go to the highest CIP shift, you would vote for whatever it would probably be the lowest residential factor proposed. So it's a little counterintuitive there, if you understand what I'm saying. But primarily what you're doing is you're proposing residential factors. The chair takes all of them that you want to propose, closes the floor, and then you begin voting on the highest residential factor first.
Thank you, Attorney Garatowski. Any questions for Attorney Garatowski? All right, well, the chair will now open the floor to all councilors for proposing of the residential factors. Chair recognizes Councilor Lima.
Move to propose a residential factor of 0.8368.
Second.
Made by Councilor Lima, seconded by Councilor Morad. Anyone else? Any other proposals? Chair recognizes Councilor Carney.
Yes, I would like to propose 08390.
Made by Councilor Carney,
Second.
second by Councilor Morad. Do we have any other proposals? Do we have any other proposals? I'll ask one last time. Do we have any other proposals? Okay, the chair will now close the floor for proposals, and as Attorney Garatowski said, we will start with the highest residential shift first.
On the question.
On the question?
So, colleagues, I appreciate that my colleague from Jenny Lynn Street has suggested a shift in the category of 1.74 or 0.8390. And in a normal year, I would have joined her in that vote. I may have even requested that we do a residential factor of 0.8412. But I shared with some of you, or all of you this afternoon, a spreadsheet that kind of showed what was happening as it relates to the residential tax bill and the commercial tax bill from 2022 to 2023. And in all good conscience, considering what is going on in the economy, considering what's going on with everyone's other household expenses, this year, unfortunately, I'm going to vote for the shift to 1.75, which I have not done in the last 5 or 6 years standing here on the council floor. Even shifting back to the 1.75, which concerns me because it gives us no room next year, none. And as you know, we've spent quite a bit of money this year in increases in contracts for fire and police and for EMS. We're waiting for the settlement of an ASME contract. We've been looking at adjusting raises for our Unit C folks. There's been bonds put in front of us for all kinds of new equipment and apparatus. And there was a $9 million CIP put in front of us this year as well. All of that's going to have to be paid for in fiscal 24 and fiscal 25. And I'm concerned that if we don't shift the levy this year, that we'll have no room next year. But unfortunately, even at 1.75, the average residential bill is going up approximately $400 a year, $100 a quarter. That's the average. Based on a $310,000 value, many of us know that the properties in New Bedford are well valued above that at this point in time. The commercial folks will get a break at that level, approximately a $4,300 break this year. which will be good for them. They could have gotten more if we could shift the tax rate, but I don't think the votes are here. I know my vote's not there either. All I'm going to say is thank God you cut the budget this year by approximately $3 million. This number would be much higher. I hope you'll remember that when we're looking at the fiscal '24 budget again. I'll plead with you again now to increase vacancy factor in that budget and not leave open positions to have to pay for with the tax rate. That's what's happening here tonight. Those open positions that were not filled are in the money that needs to be raised to cover the budget. So I'm not happy about having to vote at the 1.75 shift at the 0.8368 factor tonight, but I don't see any other alternative at this point. Our residents are hurting, and whether it's rents or whether it's mortgages or whatever it is, people don't have extra money to give us, the city, $100 more a quarter. So I think that's all I'll say tonight. I'll just ask you to please, I'll thank you, those of you that voted with me to cut money out of the fiscal '23 budget, and I'll ask you all to please consider my words when we're looking at this again in May and June of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Okay, seeing none, remember, we are going to be voting on the highest residential factor first, which was proposed and duly seconded. The motion was made by Councilor Carney, so we're going to be voting on the 1.74 shift with the tax factor of 0.8390. Just to be clear, the 0.8390 is what we are voting on first. The clerk will call the roll. No.
No. Councilor Baptiste?
No.
No. Councilor Burgo?
No.
No. Councilor Carney?
No.
No. Councilor Giesta?
No.
No. Councilor Gomes?
No.
No. Councilor Lima?
No.
No. Councilor Markey?
No.
No. Councilor Morad?
No.
No. Councilor Pereira?
No.
No. Fails 0 to 10, Mr. President.
It fails 0 to 10. Now the clerk will call the roll on the next motion that was made and duly seconded on the 1.75 shift with the residential factor of 0.8368. Just so we're all clear again, for the 0.8368 1.75 shift. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Burgo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Carney?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Giesta?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Gomes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lima?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Markey?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morad?
No.
No. Councilor Pereira?
Yes.
Yes. Passes 9.
Passes 9 to 1. The chair
I'd like
recognizes.
to change my vote to a no.
Let the record show Councilor Gomes would like to change his vote to a no.
Passes 8 to 2, Mr.
So now it passes 8 to 2.
Motion to waive Rule 40?
A motion to waive Rule 40 is made by Councilor Morad. Second by Councilor Burgo. Anyone on the question? Roll call vote.
Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Baptiste? Yes. Councilor Burgo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Carney?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Giesta?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Gomes?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Lima?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Markey?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morad?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Pereira?
Yes.
Yes. Passes 10 to 0, Mr. President.
The item passes 10 to 0. Colleagues, seeing there's no other business before us.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made by Councilor Giesta, seconded by Councilor Burgo. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned at 6:32 p.m. Thank you.